You were speaking of ignorance and hatred, and also about doing the teachings of Islam. And my question is that one of the misconceptions, I think, that I've heard, and not knowing anything really about the Quran, is that the Quran instructs Muslims to murder those who do not follow Islam. Is that correct?
Now, that's a question. Okay. Absolutely not. But it depends who's reading, from which source, for what purpose. I know of 26 different English language translations of the Quran. Imagine how many other different translations into other languages. Some of them are made with very good intention, but have mistakes. Some of them are very good. Some of them are made with a bad intention to disprove and to distort. So it depends who you're watching or listening to, what's their motive, and what are they saying. In Islam, just like in Judaism, whoever kills a soul without very valid reason, and it's not up to individuals to do it, as if he killed all humanity, and if he saved the soul, as if he saved all humanity. This is a verse in the Quran, and actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the verse itself, just like it was in the Torah, to confirm the meaning that it's, the same value. So, killing somebody for no reason, like the example that we're talking about, is absolutely forbidden. And if you kill a soul for no reason like that, there is no parole for you in the hereafter. So, yes.
So I have two questions. One is, I know that moving to Staten Island more than 25 years ago, as a Jewish person, I really felt like an other. Because at that point, anyway, there was so much, not even aggressive Catholicism, but it was just expected. Like 95% of the people, if you went to Saint in the phone book, it would go on for page after page of churches. And I think that's changed somewhat. So the first part of the question is, what does it feel like to be a citizen and a resident here on this island, which really is the place where people ask you what church you go to. And the other is, there are 5 mosques here. Are they Sunni? Are they Shia? Are they neither?
Thank you. I'll start with the easier one, which is the mosques. The 5 mosques are managed by majority Sunni. I do not know of strong Shia presence, but generally, in the whole world in general, Shiites are not more than 20% of the whole Muslim population. So there is a stronghold of Shiaism in Queens, for example, but I haven't known anybody on Staten Island. The first question, how I feel being here. I think the statistics right now still says that the island is about 70% Italian, right? And mostly Roman Catholic. I happen to marry one, and she's sitting with us. And so, thank you. So I don't have a problem with the principle, but unfortunately, something like SR Live comments shows a lot of ignorance. And that's a good chance to bring this motto that I always say and believe. Ignorance of begets fear from, and fear from, if not dealt with and the ignorance removed, can and usually always change into hate. Okay. The fear makes you hate. Look at us 2-3 years ago. Okay. And I'm not talking about Republican or Democrat or anything else, because to me both are the same. But there was what Professor Noam Chomsky says, the panic button. Okay. Whenever there is something the government want to take the people's mind off, okay, push a panic button. Grenada. You remember Grenada during Reagan times? I mean, for God's sake, what would they do? Okay. So, and there are so many examples, but the fear at the time in the hearts and minds of many, many, many Americans was real. Why? Because they were subjected to a huge campaign of misinformation and otherwise. So again, if we deal with ignorance, we totally eliminate the fear, and therefore there is no room for hate. And I mean, that actually what made me, after 9/11, get involved in interfaith and activity like this, because once you realize that I just want to raise my children and live happy just like you, there is no fear here. Okay? The only thing left is this some information that I'm sure I bored you with, that if you want to know, you could ask about and find out. But other than this, we are all human beings, wherever we are, whoever we are, wherever we came from. And that's, my issue of living here. But how do I deal with it? I've been subjected to many, many discrimination incidents. I have bad feeling and bad taste, but it doesn't stop me, because, the more I'm involved in this, the more wise I get. So I understand where these people were coming from. And, you have to deal with it.
I don't know any way. I've been trying to figure a way to put this succinctly, so please indulge me, because I haven't figured out a way to put this succinctly at all. It comes off of Jill's question about the Quran and the murdering thing. I think I have 3 copies of the Quran that I got at various places where people were selling them. I'm a big scripture guy. I have a long background of I studied to be a priest and all that, and so I do that. And I've been trying really hard to read the Quran and get a feeling for the connection that I feel among all spirituality. And it's hard. The overwhelming impression is this really rigorous, you do this or you're dead. You do this or you're going to get punished. It's really fierce, and there's just all these prohibitions, and the tone. I know there's a lot of that in the regular Bible, both Old and New. I gravitated to St. John, the Epistle of St. John, where God is love. But that's a small section, right? And I know that there's a small section of people in various religions who interpret things in a more progressive way. So I wonder about, is this really what it's like, or are you just like a really good progressive Muslim and you happen to be interpreting that way? Are these people, I also read about, you have to do this 6 or 7 times a day, this rigorous ritual, and I'm sure there's different levels within the church, with the faith. So I'm just curious, could you address some of that stuff?
Sure, thank you.